Hey, what's up guys, Sir Emanon here, and welcome to the first of hopefully many Master Rule 5 deck profiles to come. So yeah, this is going to be my pure Burning Abyss deck profile, as you guys can tell. And if you guys do remember on the sort of little update video that I had posted a couple of days ago at this point, where I talk about, where the channel's moving forward ever since Tiger got banned, I did have a pinned comment on that video with a list of a couple of different decks, like actually many different decks that I was considering trying out, and BA was pretty high up there on the list, and it's one of the decks that I was actually looking forward to trying the most, especially in Master Rule 5. So there's a lot of like really cool things about the deck. Obviously it lost certain options like Destrudo with Mare. It lost, some people were playing the Malicious Silkius package. I was personally never too big in it. But yeah, like we lost some options, but we also have other options coming out of Dual Overload, and I think there's like a lot of exciting things moving forward. Obviously, having Master Duel 5 helps this deck exponentially. So first off, I kind of want to mention why I'm playing pure BA, because it's kind of like a weird choice. A lot of people are playing block BA at the moment, which we think kind of like fits my style more because I'm such a combo-oriented player, and I'll probably get around to it at some point. It's just that I actually really liked pure BA. It's one of the first decks that I actually played, getting back into the game. It really is what helped transition me from like a pure control player. I started off with like Teller Knights back in the day, and I kind of transitioned into BA, which was like more of sort of a mid-range deck, kind of like Salamangreat almost, where you have a very recursive engine that's able to just fuel your resources turn after turn after turn, and like you can grind very well, and you like also. Back when I played it, it was like kind of during spiral format, so we didn't really have a great way to like close out games all the time. But now there's like so many options, and like I kind of talked about those when I get into the extra deck. But there's like so many ways that you can apply pressure nowadays, and I really like the way that pure BA can actually facilitate that really well, surprisingly enough. It doesn't like, have to grind for like 5-10 turns. You can close out the game very quickly if given the chance. And also, I kind of prefer this to something like PK Fire, just because I found the deck to be a little bit too inconsistent, and I felt like just the options that I had available to it weren't that much higher ceiling actually than pure BA, given how I built it here. So we're just gonna go ahead and get into the list. So of course we have the obligatory 2 tour guide. Oh, I'll just mention typically what I've been trying to do recently is just start off with sort of a like a blank deck list, and then build it as we go through. But because we're in the very early stages of testing, obviously, like it's the second day of Master Rule 5, this is by no means a finalized list, nor am I going to claim it to be like the absolute most refined. But like I did play a couple of matches, like 5 or 6 matches on Dueling Book Rated, and it's performed pretty well apart from my own misplays. So I think that it's a good canvas to start off with. So yeah. If you have any suggestions, you can definitely feel free to leave them in the comments. And I do have some things that I'll talk about as far as like potential replacements if you guys want to toy around with the deck a bit. So we got 2 copies of Tour Guide. Very standard at this point. Every BA list is running her at 2. Unfortunately, she didn't come back to 3 because I thought maybe with Diva they would come off together, but it's fine. We still have 2. We have 3 copies of Fiendish Rhino Warrior, so this is kind of an interesting one. A lot of people maybe have started cutting this or just dropping it entirely, but I really like it as kind of just a supplementary honorary BA name, because like it does what you want it to do as far as not really conflicting with like your extenders. So I think the routes that you can go is either play like a very heavy BA count. You can see I'm playing like, if you're counting like Tour Guide and Rhino, I'm playing 20. So I might actually play like 15, but like it's still a lot, right? So either like go really heavy on the BAs or go heavy on like the non-engine level 3 extenders that summon themselves. So things like Psychic Wielder, Psychic Tracker. If you want to play Gillosaurus, you could play that. Like Defrag Dragon is another choice. Dangers, obviously, although they went to 1, so kind of inconsistent now. But I found that like you don't want to have a mix of too many of those. Like, you don't want to go half and half, because then you'll just have awkward hands, or you have like some combinations of like one component of your hand which like conflicts with other parts of your hand, because you never want like your BAs getting in the way of like you being able to like summon themselves because you have like too many non-engine extenders, and like vice versa. You don't want these like getting in the way of like your non-engine extenders as well. So I figure that it's best just to maximize on one or the other. And it's true, like you could play cards like Mathematician instead of this, which can obviously send stuff like O-Line, which is what the Block Dragon build is playing. And obviously, if you're playing Block BA, you should definitely do that, because like that deck is like trying to play through as many hand traps as possible. But like this build doesn't really mind hand traps a whole lot. Obviously, like if you get in a beard, you get in a beard. And there's like a little bit of a way you can counteract that. Like not really, but like you can sort of play around it if you want to. But like this deck doesn't really care as much about hand traps. So like you don't really want like your normal summon getting ashed all the time. Obviously, tour guide is going to be susceptible, but you just have to play her, of course. But like with Rhino, like you're not really going to lose out to that many hand traps. If they like ash your Rhino, it's never really that bad because like then you can just fall back in your Cherubini. And like to send graph and stuff. Like what they should really be ashing is your graph anyway. But like Rhino is just always the safer card in my opinion. Like it's always going to get you some sort of value, even like in your less explosive hands. Like you can just toolbox into whatever you need, and I feel like that's kind of what this deck aims to do. Also, like this deck like has definitely a higher emphasis on Beatrice, to where like when you make like the like Beatrices that get you a lot of value with like Rhinos and Farfars and Alex underneath it. Like you definitely want to have that option available to you, so like you can detach, like play around Ash on Beatrice, or like just get multiple interrupts. So that's why I think like Rhino is really really good. And like you could play around like Veiler Imperm on this too, if you're smart. So like if you guys do want to see a combo tutorial, definitely leave a like in the video. If we get 100 likes, I'll do a combo tutorial on this. It's not gonna be like super combo heavy obviously because it's like a more like mid-range control build, but I'll show you like some of the cool things you can do. All right, so we got Graph and Seer obviously. It's kind of funny because like if these were hypothetically 3, I don't think I would play 3 of each of them. I'm gonna be totally honest. Like they're not really good to draw in your opening hand, especially like okay, so like maybe if Graph came back to like 3, I would cut down on Rhino, because like then they both become normal summons and that's not really good. But like you really just don't want to draw these. Like, you don't want to draw them and be forced to special them, because then like the whole point is to not special them so you like actually get to resolve their effects. So it's kind of an interesting paradox. Like now that we have Cherubini that tutors them for free, they kind of become Garnets. Like Graph not as much, but Seer definitely. And like it begs the question, like if you were to play more, or if you were to have the option to play more, would you? Like I'd probably play more Graph, but how many Seer would I play? Like I don't see myself playing more than 2 of this, honestly. Which is kind of interesting to think about. Then we got 3 Skarm. This build can definitely grind to a reasonable extent, and like this is one of the cards where like if you don't see one of your primary normal summons, like this can flex into a normal summon, kind of a card like Salamangreat Foxy, where like you want to see Debugger Buffalo preferably, but like if not, then you see Foxy, and then you can normal it, and that's like an okay play. Kind of the same deal with Skarm, where like if you're normal, you're never really in that bad of a situation because you'll at least be guaranteed follow-up. And with the number of defensive cards you play, you're not really usually dead turn 1. So yeah. Next we got 2 Libic. I really am a huge advocate of 2 in these kinds of builds, because when you're like looping Dante and Seer, obviously you want Seer to kind of like be an extra link of material, because like you ladder up a lot in this deck. So like Libic is one of the most ideal ways to do so. So like you would Libic special out Seer, which instead of like Seer just dying if you normal it and then like bring back Dante, you get like to actually use the Seer as a material. So like that comes up like pretty clutch. This comes up in hands where like if you like open one of these and like you just need to get it out of your hand, like it's a fairly decent choice to send off a Rhino or Cherubini, just to be able to get these onto the board without having to like actually special them with their own effects. Same kind of do with Skarm in some cases too. So it's just a really really good like engine extender BA, and it's like probably one of the best names out there. 2 Farfa. I'm not really playing 3 here. I tried it out, but like the thing is that you generally want to see a wide variety of BA names, so that like in cases where you need to like go second and trigger their effects, you don't have to like special the ones that you aren't trying to special. Like going second resolving Skarm is like maybe less important because like you're trying to break the board, but like resolving Farfa is definitely important going second. So like that's definitely something you want to have access to, and like 2 is like fine enough to send off of like Beatrice or whenever you need to. 2 Alec, kind of like a similar philosophy. It's definitely not as good as Farfa in most instances, but like it's it's fairly okay. And we got 2 Rubik, so like this is actually really interesting because I placed a fairly high emphasis on Needle Fiber in this build, and Needle Fiber is like really really good because of like the Tour Guide follow-up. Tour Guide into Rubik is like a full combo by itself. And again, if you guys want to see a video on that, I will definitely show you guys how you can use the Tour Guide follow-up to actually like kill people with it. It's pretty cool. one barbar, you know, if you want to game them or burn in time, and then Calcab for Phase Beatrice against backward decks. But actually, you can see I have a better target for that in the next row here. So like this is like the BAs. It's very very heavy. But I am a very I don't know. I very much enjoy pure BA, and I think that like this is one of the ways to go about it. Like you can like cut down on a lot of these and then play like a lot of extenders that I'm not playing here, which I'll talk about. Or like, I already kind of mentioned them earlier, but yeah, I just prefer having like the BA names because like even though they are worse in follow-ups past turn one, the fact of the matter is that like you're using them more for their utility, and like you have other ways to spam the board. And like I'll talk about that in just a bit here, actually, right now. So we got for extenders, we got Sea Archiver and Edge Sabers. This is like how you kind of grind past turn one. Edge I'm kind of on the fence about. I initially thought that this card was required for like I was like testing out combos and stuff. I thought this was required for like a specific 2-card combo in this deck, but then I figured out you don't actually need this card anymore. So like, it is definitely one of the cuttable slots if you aren't really too keen on it. I know some people aren't a fan of it, but Rhino sending it like later on gives Rhino more value at 3, because like after you send Skarm and like get your engine going, like you kind of run out of good things to send off of Rhino after a certain point. So like having this to send as a recurable body is really good. Same with Archiver. If your hand is really good, you would ideally be sending this off of your Cherubini. That way, like if you have like a link point to summon Sabers 2, like these two become like a free rank 3 or a free link 2 every single turn basically. So like you'll always be able to like utilize the board. So like you don't always need to have the BA. That's kind of like why I like the Edge Sabers, is that it provides kind of like a looming sort of ever-present threat. And like it's just a body that your opponent has to like keep thinking about, you know, because it doesn't like banish itself or anything, so it's really good. Yeah, Archiver is just amazing. I love Archiver. It's a card that I think that I would not really ever cut. So I kind of want to play Psychic Wielder in particular because it is a needle fiber target, and like you do at times want a level 3 tuner, but I am playing Ash, so it like kind of fits that role. But I don't know, like Tracker obviously, or Wielder is obviously really good like in cases where you draw like just Rhino, but like with how many BAs you're playing, that's super unlikely. Like you're trying to draw so many BAs anyway, right? So like the whole idea is to just like not rely on those extenders like I mentioned earlier, and just like fall back on how many BAs that you're playing. So I think this is totally fine. And what else? Dangers like are always kind of weird, especially now that they're at 1. Like, would you really play Jackalope if you had like the risk of like drawing it with maybe Tsuchinoko and then it like hits itself? Then it becomes kind of like just, you know, a non-factor. Like I don't know, it's kind of weird. Like maybe you would play like Snake just by itself because it's like always a guaranteed level 3. But then like if you draw it with BAs, it just doesn't really do it, and like it's just one Snake. So like, would you really like? You'd really have to find a lot of other extenders. I don't know. I'm just not like too keen on it. I don't think it's like that needed. Alright, then we got Jet Synchrons. This is the primary needle fiber target. This is like how you are able to like actually follow up really well, especially because like it is Jet Synchron instead of something like Gold Bulb, which obviously is banned now, but like this actually has some spots where it is better than Gold Bulb in those scenarios, like in a lot of cases actually. All right, and then we got Scythe and we got Shaddoll Dragon. So spoiler alert, I'm playing Dagda combo because I always like that. I always think it's really insane. You could definitely swap this out for something. Thing I was thinking about was you could play like Instant Fusion, so you can play the Predaplant Link, the Verite Anaconda, instead of Dagda, and then you can like send Instant Fusion to summon Winda. But that required like another extra deck space, and I was like really not trying to cut any of these. Like there's other stuff that I would also consider playing in addition to this, but like it does require one less main deck spot though, so like it kind of turns Dragon into a bit of a Garnet, and that's like something that Sabers can do, is like it could put these back into the deck, which is pretty good. But yeah, so like the idea is that with Beatrice you send Shaddoll Dragon, you can pop Scythe, because you just chain Dagda to Beatrice, and it's pretty nice. So yeah, I don't think I've seen anybody actually utilize that, so I'll like show off the basic ways you can do that if you guys want that combo video. Alright, so we got 3 Ash for hand traps and 2 Veiler. I kind of want to fit Crow in here. I want to like fit more hand traps, but like there's just not enough space. You can see space is very tight. So like these are hand traps that are like pretty reasonably generic, but also like in scenarios where like, you need to as a follow-up, you can normal summon them, make needle fiber, which actually definitely comes up a lot. Not a lot, but it comes up a fair bit, like more than you might expect. We got 3 Call by the Grave. I know I said earlier that this deck doesn't really care as much about hand traps, but the one that matters the most is Ash on Graph. That's the one that matters like by far the most. So you want Call by the Grave to be able to like act as just a contingency plan. And worst case scenario, it's a pretty strong defensive card this format. Just because like so many people are trying to combo off right now, and are trying to like play grave centric stuff. This being no exception, but it's just a good all around defensive card in those cases where you don't need it for hand trap insurance. Foolish, obviously another starter. Reborn is like kind of like the bomb card that I picked here. I also kind of low key want to play Pot of Avarice because like the idea of shuffling back Beatrice is really nice. And I think that it's good in spots where like you need to recycle certain things that like maybe you mill too many resources. Like I never like try and mill blindly with Dante, especially turn 1. But like in cases where we have too many things in grave that you need, like Avarice could maybe shuffle stuff back. But I don't know. Playing Avarice is kind of a weird thing because like how many would you play? Like would you play 1 and like not really see it, but like would you play 3 and see it, but like maybe brick in it because like granted, like, if you can play, you can definitely get 5 monsters in grave turn 1, but like are you gonna use it turn 1 rather than save it for Beatrice? Or you're just trying to like draw into hand traps? Like it kind of creates like sort of weird paradoxes where I think like Reborn is just a more steady card. But like you could definitely swap it out for like 1 Avarice. I don't think I would play 3. I'd maybe play like 1. I'd play 1, maybe 2, if any. And then we got Imperm for another hand trap. This is kind of actually iffy because like you don't really want to be setting too much back row, given the fact that like you're playing such a heavy BA count, so like you always want to freely special them. But at the same time, like you don't want to turn yourself into a deck that loses to back row hate, because like this deck is obviously trying not to lose to that kind of those kinds of things. So that's kind of like the mentality with the side pattern as well. But we got that. Then we got 2 copies of Paleozoic Dinomischus. This is probably the most interesting card in here. I want outs to Mystic Mime for sure. And also, this is actually really good because when you're doing like your standard Beatrice stuff, like you're always adding Seer back to hand. So like it always just triggers like Seer, like for just another layer of grinding. And if you do happen to draw Shadow Dragon, you can actually trigger it off of it and get rid of like theoretically a floodgate and like another back row, like a monster in a back row. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's also nice just as like spot removal for like anything they need at the time. It's like really flexible. It's definitely slower than something like Cosmic, but I just like the multi-purpose removal it has. I don't know. I just like this card a lot. All right, and then for extra deck we got Beatrice, 2 Dante, Levier, and Breaksword as the only ranked 3s. It's kind of sad that we're Master Rule 5 and I'm not playing that many ranked 3s, but hear me out, alright? The only one that I maybe consider besides these is probably Grand Pulse. Actually, no, Grand Pulse and like Engineer. Engineer to act as like a pseudo Beatrice, like past turn 1. But like, I don't know, like the links are so good. Like, people are like, I don't know, I think people are undervaluing just how strong Link's actual effects are. Like, if we were playing Master Rule 5 and it was like the early 2018 or something like that, where like links were primarily used for the arrows and not for their effects, then yeah, like you'd want to play as many rank 3s as you can. But like now that links actually have like really good effects and you want to like actually use them, it's kind of hard to like fit everything in because like you would want to play like all the things that you can. But I don't know, I just think that you're not really trying to make like a lot of just turn 1 Dantes in like many instances, especially because like again you only have like one of these. Like that's what more of these would open up, is just the possibility of making more Dantes, I suppose. But I don't know. I just think that like these are the most important rank 3s because like Levier can get back like a Seer that was banished off Call by the Grave by your opponent. It could get back like a banished Sea Archiver, which is pretty good. I just like Levier plays, even though it's not PK Fire. I still think it's like good to have. And you also call by your grave your opponent's stuff and then Levier it back if you see the opportunity to. Then we got Breaksword. I already kind of like went over these briefly, but Breaksword's good obviously with Cherubini. You put it under a Cherubini zone and you just pop one for free. Pretty good. And we got Dagda for like the artifact stuff. Appaloosa, this is maybe one of the cuttable spots. Like I find myself making it like seldom, not like it's not necessary by any means though. Borload just to out things that the rest of the deck can't. It kind of does struggle with like non-targeting removal, so like I think that you need some sort of way to deal with that. Borosword, obviously for killing people. Cherubini, used to like think this was maybe like a 2 of, but I don't know, never really needed more than one to be honest. Needle or Halka Fiber X, I'm never gonna get used to that. Yeah, it's really really good. Phoenix and Unicorn, Trisbana. So the play, there used to be a play where like you could far for your own Trisbana turn 1 and then put it under like one of the extra monster zones and have Beatrice occupying the other, so your opponent is forced to summon to the zone it points to. But like it won't come up as much now because we're Master Rule 5, so kind of a big rip to that play. But it is also just good for forcing out back row or just clearing it. And then Abomination, like similar concept, except like you can just use this to clear like all sorts of boards. Like you can ladder up with Needle Fiber into this, and then just like start breaking boards, which is really really good. Alright, so we got the side deck, very, very much tentative, very much in progress. So we got 3 sphere mode. So like what you would do is like you would take out some of the normal summons, like probably like rhinos, like spare rhinos and stuff, and then put in sphere mode to clear boards. Everyone's trying to combo off, and I would play Nibiru, but like the token really gets in the way, so like the token's really, really bad when you're playing 15 BAs, so not trying to do that. 3 Dark Ruler, so like typically this deck isn't known for its like high level of aggression, but like you actually can manage to do so if you make a concerted effort to like go for a Needle Fiber play. The cool thing is like if you get Cherry Beanie, you can get Needle Fiber too, because like you can go Graph Summon Rubik, and that's like really good. So yeah, we got 3 Twin and 3 Evenly for backward decks, and then we got Anti-Spell Fragrance. So Anti-Spell is like the only card that I would decide for going first. I was playing like Vanity's Fiend, but then I thought like, well, people might like Dark Ruler me, and then like that's like really sad. I don't want to just like pass on a Vanity's Fiend and then just not be able to like actually do anything. It's like a neg 1, you like get rid of a BA resource. It's like I don't know. I just feel like it's good when it gets you there, but like in the case where it doesn't, you're just very very sad. I guess like maybe a case can be made for anti-spell, especially because like you can like mess up your own BAs with it being a continuous trap, but like you just want to stop the Shadal matchup more than anything really. It's really important just to like stop them from popping off, because like you're never going to really realistically safely play around Shadal Fusion, and even if you do, like the Shadal deck nowadays, like it's different from like BA versus Shadal back then, because like there's actually plays that the deck can make, like regardless of if they draw Shadal Fusion, because like they have so many ways to actually access fusion spells now. So like you just need a way to stop the spells entirely. Another option that you could play, if the goal is to stop Shadal, is you could play D Barrier. That's also like not a bad idea. So like that could definitely turn into D Barrier, just to stop like random other combo decks, which could definitely be a good choice. So yeah, definitely this is a work in progress, especially the side deck, but like main deck could be like changed a little bit. I do definitely like the premise of like the first 20 cards. I definitely wouldn't change personally. I really think that this is like a great lineup, and then the second row can definitely like, or second 2 rows can use some toying around with if you want to. Like if you don't like the brickiness of this potentially, then you could you could opt to not play it. But Dragon's also like nice because you just have a good removal out to back row game 1. Like that's not Calcab, because Calcab's kind of like meh. It's not very good. But yeah, Shadal Dragon pretty good. So yeah, that's gonna do it. Oh, another thing you could do actually is you could side Shadal Fusion if you want to for going second. That's like a cool thing you could do. So you can like summon Construct, get Dragon. There's not really a good light target to send, so I'm not really sure exactly what you would be accomplishing there, but it's a thought. But yeah, all right, that's actually going to do it this time. So thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like as well as any thoughts or feedback in the comment section down below. Feel free to subscribe for more informative and competitive Yu-Gi-Oh content. If you want to, you can follow me on Discord, Twitter, or Twitch. All 3 links in the description as always. And once again, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I'll catch you in the next video. See you guys!